My name is Nyleen Flores. I'm the CEO at Total Surgery Center in Naples, Florida. Our surgery center opened back in 1995, and it was an independent physician-owned multi-specialty facility all up until 2023. I joined the facility at the end of 2020, and we partnered with SCA in 2023. So currently we do about 4,000 cases a year, but we do have pain management. So we do about 1,100 surgeries, and everything else really is a little bit of everything else. We do podiatry, and everything else is pain management. We started using HST in 2021. As soon as I took over, that's one of the first things that I did is I evaluated EHRs, and we implemented HST in 2021. We use HST practice management, we use eChart, and we use case coordination. When I joined the surgery center and did my initial evaluation of everything that was going on, they used another EHR and practice management system, and what happened is they weren't using it fully. It was not built correctly, and the only one physician was using it. The other physician refused to use it. It wasn't user friendly. It was extremely difficult to add a new user, to modify a user, to post payments, to do reporting was extremely painful. And so I needed a way to have accurate reporting, tracking, accuracy of documentation, and I needed something that everyone could use and was friendly for every specialty and could be specialized for each specialty, because a pain management case is not going to have anesthesia. So I needed something that wasn't just the same for everything, that could be catered to what I needed. Well, before they were using AMCI and SIS Complete, and I did not think it was set up appropriately, and it was very cumbersome and very difficult to manipulate. It was about 20 clicks in 2 different systems to add a new user. So it was extremely difficult. And also it was hard to follow. Everything was cubes versus linear. And so I did not like it. It was just not fun to use. So I needed to make the change immediately. And I happened to hear through the grapevine, they said, well, there's a lot of solutions out there, but HST is the best. And they were like, that just means they're expensive. And I said, well, true, that may be expensive, but I need to look at it to really evaluate whether or not they, number one, really are the best and easiest to use, or if they're just, want to charge people for nothing. So that's how I went ahead and got the demo with HST. It was when I got onboarded, there was a lot of change with nursing. As a new administrator, there's always that kind of rubbing between staff, and some people leave, some people stay. And so with that change, having to try and figure out how to run a report and it not be accurate, not have preference cards, not know what the heck the doctors were signing or not signing, not being able to figure it out, I was like, I can't do this. This needs to change immediately. So I could not add a user, could not delete a user, could not edit permissions. I couldn't do anything. And so I said, this needs to change immediately. And if I'm going to do my annual required reporting, I need to know my stats. I need to know what I can report. And you can't do that if half of your charting is on paper and half of your charting is electronic. So if I was going to submit accurate reports to CMS and I was going to submit my ACA report sometime, I needed to do it correctly and provide accurate data, because I wasn't going to put my job on the line. So that's why we decided to implement the change. I did look at other ones, but to be honest, HST looks really pretty. So that's always really attractive. And really I was using its biggest competitor. So if I didn't like its biggest competitor, I don't want to be a guinea pig. I didn't want to be a guinea pig, because I want to be profitable and I want to be effective and I want to be able to make things work the way I want it to work. And honestly, HST was the one who can offer me the most personalization, the way that I needed it to have for our center, for our different types of cases that we had. And what made me finally go with HST is obviously the functionality, the integration, and the interoperability of all of its services. Yeah, I can make it for me. When I said, I have a minor room where the doctor's doing a mallet pinning and we're not going to use anesthesia, but he's going to use a local, and I need this particular thing to do here or there, and my e-chart builder helper, who was amazing, she was like, ooh, let's try this, this, or this. And so we were able to make a chart just for those types of cases. And then I told her, well, I do pain and we do this. She goes, oh, well, you can do this and you can discharge the person here and you can only take blood pressures here and we can move it over here and you can gather the data, and that same data, just that block will just transfer into another one, and all the person is doing is acknowledging. And I was like, oh my goodness, this is amazing. So the entire building process was great. I am a little spoiled in that when I got hired on my reputation in the neighborhood. I came from the local hospital, and one of the owner's partners said, if you hired her, you just do whatever she says. And so I'm a little spoiled in that I got 100% confidence, but so they trusted my judgment. And the thing that I said to them is, I understand it's a little bit more than what you're paying now, but I'm reducing this workload from this person. I'm doing this, I'm not replacing this, and we're going to avoid a lawsuit because you're never going to find a paper chart. And I'm taking away storage space, so I will make it worth your while. And they trusted me and they saw that I produced results, and then I never got questioned again. Well, I don't even remember what it's like to work without HST, so I can't have to be honest about that. But it's amazing. It's great. I love the way that it works. I love that I have a doctor who says, Nyleen, I need to change my form that I want to give to the patients, and I say, got it, I'll build it for you. So we need to update our fire risk assessment. No problem, I got you. I can build it, I can edit. I don't have to bother anybody. I don't have to call, but if I do have a question, I can call HST and they'll help me through it. So it's great. First of all, the most important thing is 100% chart completion. I've been at centers where I go in there and there's 3 tables of charts because they're missing a signature. Whereas I can have my director of nursing on a Friday where we have no cases, I can have her sit on her computer all day and all do chart audits and finish everything from a computer and not have to open charts and get paper cuts. I don't like paper cuts. They cost too much in Band-Aids. So, it's just great because it can also be things that nurses do in between. So if there's downtime, if we have a day off, I can give somebody hours and do 100% chart completion in a week. Every week I know my charts are done, and it doesn't take so much time. It doesn't take reopening. It doesn't take stickies. It doesn't take all this extra money, which is because all those tabs, all those stickies, all that stuff all cost money. So it makes that great. Also, the ease of the audits, super easy. My required reporting is always on point. I never have a question of what my normothermia stats are. I never have a question of how much hair removals I did, because everything is built and reported and used, and all it is a click of a button. At the end of the month, I can do all of my reporting in an hour versus 3 days. So it's life-changing. It was great, and I wish I still remembered the name of the girl who built eChart. She was phenomenal, and I think what made her phenomenal is she used to work in an ASC, and she was a nurse that worked in an ASC, and I think that made the difference. So that was the first thing. The other thing is the work that I put into it, and I don't mean to talk about myself as better than anybody else, but I literally sat with every nurse. So I sat with surge scheduler for a day. I sat with my registration for a day. I sat with my pre-op nurse. I sat with my OR nurse all day. So it took me a long time of data collection to make sure, and editing, because I would test it out and I'd tell the nurses, okay, now your turn. Tell me what you like, tell me what you don't like. What do you do first? At what point do you insert your needle? At what point do you do your IV? Because if it's the first thing you do, well, that's not what the first thing they do. The first thing they do is they go over the consents. So what do you have at the top of your chart? So sitting through the workflow and making it work for the staff, for them actually using it, made it the best. And then having the support of the HST person to tell me, oh, it's so easy, we can do this, we can do that. It was just such a great experience. Great. And one of the biggest things that was very impressive is that if for some reason I didn't follow up on a ticket, I always got a phone call to make sure everything was running okay. And that is truly, I would say, exceptional customer service. It truly sets itself apart in many ways, and I hope to see it grow and continue to set itself apart.